Welcome back here to Mountain Connections. My first guest is an author, and he's also keynoting a great leadership breakfast with Nexus ITC coming up on September 26th. He's the author of the best-selling book, Management Mess to Leadership Success, and he's the co-author of a new book dropping soon, Everyone Deserves a Great Manager. But before we get into this, let's meet the man himself. Scott Miller, how are you doing today, sir?
My pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Our pleasure to have you here. Let's talk a little bit about this leadership breakfast that you have before we get into your new book. What's going on with Nexus ITC?
Yeah, so I gave a keynote on management mess to the Salt Lake Chamber a few months ago, and the owner of Nexus IT Consultants asked me if I would keynote one of his conferences. So on September 26th, down in Salt Lake City, there's a 3-hour complimentary breakfast where I'm one of 2 keynotes just talking about how do you build leadership capability in organizations. Nexus IT is underwriting it. It's about a 2.5-hour breakfast down at the Salt Lake Community College Entrepreneurial Center. So visit Nexus IT Consultants, register, bring your team. It's going to be a great morning, conversation, network, and really kind of learn from all my mistakes as a 30-year leader and an executive in a leadership company.
That's great that you say that, learn from your mistakes, because I think that people who are maybe entering entrepreneurship, maybe just getting out of college, maybe getting into college and starting to come up with their first ideas for business, they're afraid of failure, which it's valid. Everyone is afraid to fail, but I think the people who are the most successful are the ones who've embraced failure and have embraced not being able to achieve what they really want and learning from that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think vulnerability is a leadership competency. If you want to bridge the gap between your people and the leadership and be more relatable, talk about your mistakes. Let it be safe to take risks, calibrated risks. But people need to know that leaders aren't perfect. We're not. Nobody's a complete success. No one's a total mess. We're all on that journey. But I've written this book where I talked about my biggest 30 leadership mistakes in life. And I'll never work again, my wife says, because no one would hire me. So the speaking gig's got to work out. But I think it hit a nerve. 20,000 copies sold in less than 2 months.
That's fantastic.
Because I think most leadership books are very academic. They're not very practical. And this is super practical. Don't do this, do this. Don't say that, say this.
Very applicable to everyday situations that you would expect to face as a manager.
Regardless of your level, whether you're the CEO or you're a first-time leader, I think it reminds a lot of people of how easy it is to get tripped up on leadership principles. But I wrote it to help everybody say, it's okay, you're going to have some messes. Just own up to them. Everybody else knows what they are anyway. They're talking about them, so acknowledge them and make it safe for others to have messes as well.
That's a great thing. You got to lead by example is one of the key things there. What are some of the big takeaways that you hope people will get from this leadership breakfast that's happening with Nexus?
Yeah, I think it's to realize that we're all on the same journey. Some of us are a little further through. Great leaders listen more. They slow down with people. Right? Dr. Covey, our founder, had this great quote, with people, slow is fast and fast is slow.
Yeah.
There's a time to be efficient, there's a time to be effective. And if you want to inoculate your people from being poached by your competitor, you want them to like the culture that they're in. People don't quit their jobs, they quit their bosses.
Exactly.
And they quit their cultures. And leaders are the linchpin of great cultures. So with 3% unemployment, people have options. Your people are being pinged by recruiters on LinkedIn, and you're naive if you think it's not happening. So if you want to build a culture where people choose to stay and stay highly engaged, come to the breakfast. You'll learn a lot of great tips on how to build a great culture where people actually love coming to work. Because the facts are, they spend more time at work than they do awake at home in their personal lives.
Absolutely.
Might as well make it engaging and enjoyable.
Absolutely, and fostering that sustainable culture that's going to be, that has longevity, that will go well into the future is key there. So again, just a reminder that's happening on September 26th. You can register on Nexus ITC's website. But right now I want to talk about your new book, which you helped co-author, Everyone Deserves a Great Manager, the 6 Critical Practices for Leading a Team. Tell me about the process for this one. What was the approach as compared to your last book?
Well, easier because I had 2 co-authors helping me write it, right? So it comes out on October 8th. It's in hardcover. It's a galley copy today, a pre-press proof. But this really is based on FranklinCovey's one-day leadership offering, the 6 critical practices for leading a team. So we had a course. We had thousands of client engagements to draw upon. So it's, again, a very practical, relatable book. We talk about there are 6 things that leaders do to really make sure that their teams are high performance. The first one I'll mention is really about developing a leader's mindset.
And what entails a leader's mindset?
Well, so most people are promoted into leadership because they were the top salesperson, or the best digital designer, or the most effective dental hygienist. But the skills that make you great at your role rarely transfer into being a great leader. When you're a leader, you have to make a huge paradigm shift, change your mindset. It's not about you anymore.
It's about
It's
listening.
about the other person. It's about their success. You have to get results with and through other people. So you have to kind of check all your trophies, check all your certificates, pack them up, say goodbye to them, and realize I'm now about the team's success. And it's tough for people to kind of make that mindset shift.
I was going to say, being the star on your team and being that number one person, and then going in and I think, as you said, becoming a leader is not about bolstering yourself. It's about bolstering your team and making sure everyone gets uplifted through your leadership, which is a very key thing, which I agree can be very difficult to do if you've spent your last couple years in that number one star position.
That's exactly right. You've got to kind of step back and realize the spotlight shifts now onto your team. Your job is to get them to become wildly successful, and perhaps their own ways as well. Not just the way you would have done it, but the way their talents and passions would as well. 5 more practices, super practical. It's written for first-level leaders, typically people that are just new to leadership. But I'll tell you, senior leaders that have gone through the course have said, you know what, I knew that, but I forgot it. Common practice isn't necessarily common knowledge, or vice versa,
it's
right?
It's good to get a refresher on these things, even if you've been 20 years in a senior management position. It's good to get a refresher on these great leadership tips, which is huge. So where can people get their hands on this book? You said it comes out in just a few weeks at the beginning
so
of
it's
October.
on sale now for pre-order on all the websites, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. It'll be in bookstores on Tuesday, October 8th. We hope it'll become a bestseller. We're going to be around the nation signing books. We have about a 20-city tour, radio programs, podcast, hopefully back with you as well. So,
hopefully back with us. We look forward to that interview for sure. Where can people go to learn more about you?
So you can go to FranklinCovey.com. I'm one of the many authors on that site. You can visit Scott Miller at managementmess.com. There's a website, Everyone Deserves a Great Manager, the world's largest domain name. But you also can follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of them.
Excellent. Scott, thank you so very much for coming on and sharing your time with us. Also, a reminder again to sign up for that great leadership breakfast happening with Nexus ITC over at the Salt Lake Community College Entrepreneurship Center on September 26th. Also, get your hands on these books, Management Mess to Leadership Success, as well as the new one coming out, Everyone Deserves a Great Manager. It's on pre-sale now, but it'll be hitting bookshelves in early October. Be sure and get your hands on that. You won't want to miss out, especially if you are new to management positions or if you've been there for quite a long time. We'll be right back with much more right here on Mountain Connections.